what's coming up in the Category 5.tv newsroom. Access to Photoshop and other Adobe software has been cut off in Venezuela as the firm seeks to comply with U.S. sanctions. A dog who survived in the rubble left in the wake of Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas has earned its new name, Miracle. The official Sesame Street online store, along with thousands of other retailers, has been targeted by a credit card stealing hack. And Facebook's Libra cryptocurrency coalition is falling apart as eBay, Visa, Mastercard, and Stripe jump ship. Stick around, the full details are coming up later in the show.
This is the Category 5.tv newsroom, covering the week's top tech stories with a slight Linux bias.
I'm Sasha Rickman, and here are the top stories we're following this week. Access to Photoshop and other Adobe software has been cut off in Venezuela as the firm seeks to comply with U.S. sanctions. Adobe had moved to a subscription-only model, which means users are not able to buy standalone versions of the latest Adobe software. Adobe said users have until October 28th to download their content, after which the accounts themselves will be deactivated. It is unclear whether other technology firms will follow suit. The firm explained, quote, "The U.S. government issued Executive Order 13884, the practical effect of which is to prohibit almost all transactions and services between U.S. companies, entities, and individuals to Venezuela. To remain compliant with this order, Adobe is deactivating all accounts in Venezuela," end quote. It said it had no idea how long the sanctions would be in effect, but added, quote, "We will continue to monitor developments closely and will make every effort to restore services to Venezuela as soon as it is legally permissible to do so," end quote. It said it was, quote, "unable to issue refunds," end quote, because the sanctions included, quote, "sales, services, support, refunds, credits, etc.," end quote.
Is it just me, or does that show a real potentially disastrous downfall to cloud-based services?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like setting some sort of
when a government of the company that is manufacturing the software or distributing the cloud suddenly says, hey, sanctions are in place, and now they have to cut off areas of the world that are their customer base, who are paying customers.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, Adobe switched to that model, and I immediately switched away from Adobe.
Yeah.
Right.
That's me. Microsoft is switching to that model, and forcibly switching to that model.
Yes.
And you know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Other companies are following suit.
But it's interesting, though, that you're seeing these changes in tech that when they first came out, a lot of companies are like, hey, this is great, we're going to modernize our services, we're going to make things more efficient. And now you're seeing the fallout of jumping to something where it hasn't necessarily been fully thought out until you start seeing the repercussions of it. Mm-hmm. And you're going, oh my goodness, this has hurt our user base.
Yeah.
And so it makes you wonder if there's value in the cost standpoint of staying with traditional in-house hosting. But I mean, then you've got the security aspect of it. Like, I know a lot of companies, because I deal with many of them in my line of work. I don't even know how many you deal with, but a lot of them are going cloud-based simply for the fact of it's cost savings. We don't have to worry about the security infrastructure. Not our problem, somebody else's problem.
Yeah.
But in this case, they could be, you know, deeply in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get around that?
It's a really tough thing. And I'm all for, hey, if I buy software, I want to be able to install it as many times as I want.
Exactly.
I have Telestream Wirecast runs our show.
Yes.
I have an executable installer that I can install on my computer. If everything failed, I can just reinstall it. It's not dependent on any cloud infrastructure or anything like that to make it work. Same thing with LibreOffice or my entire desktop operating system, which is Linux. Right. I don't have to have access to the cloud in order to be able to use those programs. And maybe it would just be nice if these companies were to provide on-premise cloud solutions or personally hosted cloud solutions. That's how I program. Well, that's what I try to do.
I think we covered it in the news, but the fact that Russia is it Russia's trying to have their own standalone internet that it completely is walled from the world.
I haven't heard, but okay.
I think it's Russia, but something like that kicks in. What happens for companies that are using cloud-based services where their internet is restricted? Like, what happens then?
It's a tough scenario.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll see.
And is China like that?
China is definitely like that with the Great Firewall, for sure. But it really comes down to, like, my point has always been, like, this is the World Wide Web, people. This has got to be worldwide. Well, you know, like, let's keep it worldwide. And that's why I think, like, this is a final thought for Robbie, but maybe they're going to end up pushing people to the dark web.
They might be.
Maybe.
That could be bad.
Not necessarily. Well, yeah, for lack of control.
Could be.
It's the same reason we're all switching to cryptocurrency. It's the same reason we've got Facebook trying to bring out Libra, because they don't want to be at the mercy of the government who says, we're going to cut you off, or we're going to stop the transactions, the business. And certainly in this case, well, hey, if you could have your software on the dark web, well, then what's to stop you?
Yeah, that's true.
If the cloud was on the dark web, right?
Yeah.
Just some crazy food for thought, but I think that will end up...
numbers.
Inevitably, that's going to end up happening. That's what the government is causing.
Right. With all of these.
That's what they're driving people to need, which is really a disappointing and scary thing. People who don't understand technology making the technology decisions that are driving the people who do understand technology to make decisions that are separate of those decision makers. That's how it's going to happen.
I feel like that's an extreme view, but that's a debate for another day.
It's just a thought. It's just a passing thought that, hey, this is probably, that's the answer.
Yeah, I know, no doubt some will, for sure, but I don't know if you'll see the industry move that way.
But why not? Like, that's a rhetorical, but why not?
All it would take is somebody to say, oh yeah, it's not bad to move to the dark web, and then I would probably...
Yeah, I don't have to be on the public web. I can be on the dark web, and I can sell my services anywhere in the world at any price that I want in cryptocurrency.
Yeah, it's possible.
Why not?
Okay.
Our show is moving to the dark web next week.
No,
You can watch us in China now.
no.
North Korea, welcome to the show.
Stop. Next
Just saying.
story. Lighter
sorry.
news.
Oh,
Next
moving
story.
right along.
Moving
Yes.
right along. A dog who survived in the rubble left in the wake of Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas has earned its new name, Miracle. Miracle was found in his starving state after being trapped under an air conditioner in the town of Marsh Harbor on the Abaco Islands. It's believed Miracle was trapped for more than 3 weeks. Hurricane Dorian struck the Bahamas last month, killing at least 50 people and leaving hundreds unaccounted for. But through the use of technology, some good is coming of the efforts of a dog rescue operation out of Florida. Big Dog Ranch Rescue founder and president Lori Simmons said, quote, "What an incredible story that we were able to discover this dog alive after being trapped for so long," end quote. Big Dog Ranch Rescue used a drone to find Miracle. They were able to detect a small heat patch and sent rescue workers trudging through debris to reach the dog. Simmons urged people to remember that the crisis in the Bahamas isn't over and that there are many more animals who are likely hiding and scared of loud equipment being used to clear debris. The dog rescue is using technology such as drones and special recovery teams in order to locate more animals who might be trapped under debris in Marsh Harbor. Big Dog Ranch Rescue has saved more than 130 dogs in the Bahamas since Hurricane Dorian hit in early September, and several dogs have been reunited with owners. The rescue has saved more than 27,000 dogs since it was founded more than 10 years ago. There's more information available at bdrr.org.
So cool that tech can be used like this.
I know. And what I like about this is just this week, I was looking at rescue dogs in our area because my wife and I are talking about another dog, and there was a bunch that were rescue dogs from the hurricane. And I was like, "Oh, they're up here. This is cool."
Up here in Canada.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right in our town.
Yeah.
Now, none of them were Miracle, but I do like this because I remember one of the, I think it was the New Orleans.
Yeah.
When that flood happened, and the dogs that were found way out in the ocean living on the debris.
Wow.
Because it was so compact. So I love this. This is great. It's like, yes, more of it.
Yeah. Drones with heat sensors are doing...
Oh, so cool.
Like, they keep popping up in the stories because they're doing really neat things.
Yeah.
You know.
And this is consumer accessible hardware now. Like, this is stuff that we can build our own thermal sensor, for example, right?
Yes.
And build it onto a drone and send it up into the air and find dogs that need rescuing.
It would be neat if some of those drones had like a harness that could collect the dog.
Oh, now we're talking.
Like, that would be awesome.
That'd be a miracle.
A micro drone. A little micro drone
chihuahua.
picking up a
That's
dog.
right. You can just picture
I'm thinking a Great Dane.
Oh my goodness.
Can you imagine seeing that fly through the air? That'd be pretty neat.
When dogs fly.
It's a bird. It's a plane.
Thanks for your input, Jeff. We're really glad you're here.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got to take a quick break. The Crypto Report and more of this week's top stories are coming right up. Don't go anywhere. The official Sesame Street online store, along with thousands of other retailers, has been targeted by a credit card stealing hack. Card details were collected by a piece of malicious software dubbed JavaScript Cookie. The code was found in shopping cart software built by Volusion, which has 20,000 small business customers. The issue was spotted by Marcel Ephraim, a researcher at security firm Checkpoint, while shopping for toys on the Sesame Street store. Volusion said that it had resolved the issue, quote, within a few hours of notification, end quote, although its statement came a day after the revelations. They said, quote, we are coordinating with authorities on this matter and continue to enhance our systems that detect and prevent unauthorized access to user accounts, end quote. It confirmed that credit card information had been stolen, but quote, not other associated personally identifying details, end quote, adding that it was not aware, quote, of any fraudulent activity connected to it, end quote. In his original blog post, Mr. Ephraim said, quote, the compromise is not only unique to Sesame Street store, and most likely any e-commerce website hosted on Volusion is probably running malicious code and posting the credit card info of the consumers to the outsider domain, end quote. Two other security researchers from Trend Micro and RiskIQ also confirmed the issue, which was reported to both the developers and some of the retailers affected. The Sesame Street site was taken offline at the time, and instead visitors saw a message that read, quote, we are currently performing scheduled maintenance and updates on the website, end quote. Volusion provides shopping cart software to thousands of merchants, and according to Mr. Ephraim, has had 185 million orders placed via its software, amounting to $28 billion in transactions.
I have so many, like, verbal memes running through my head. Like,
It's JavaScript.
Monster.
one of these things doesn't belong here.
Yeah.
Tell me how to get to your credit card info. Like,
Yes.
4, 5, 1, 9.
but no, I mean, this is truly unfortunate because, I mean, at the end of the day, because of the nature of Sesame Street, now granted that wasn't the target necessarily, it was the whole service.
That's where it was
in general.
discovered,
but that's right. But the fact is, you're talking about families who have, most likely families who have purchased things for their kids. So you're targeting now credit cards of families that likely high bills, struggling to make ends meet. Like, that's the unfortunate thing to
Dude,
this.
realistically, if I was struggling to pay my bills, I would not be shopping directly on the Sesame Street store. Where everything is 3 times the price.
All right, fine.
Just saying. Just saying.
I don't know why I'm here.
I know. Why do we keep them around?
But okay, but the interesting thing about this story is the fact that they've said it's not just Sesame Street, it's the whole service.
Yeah,
But
everybody on Volusion. Yeah.
has anybody else noticed this? Like,
Oh, for
you
sure.
think
I mean, it's-
Volusia would say, "Woo."
It's now public knowledge
Yes.
for the users, right? So you think about, like, and this, again, like, we go back to cloud-based services, right? So you think, like, and I don't want to name names. Names are coming to mind, and I don't want to say any because then someone will say, oh, well, Robbie said that, this particular. But you think about cloud services that you utilize day to day, and what happens if one of those cloud services gets compromised. And that's what's happened with Volusion. So because of that, this injected code in their cloud software, now everybody who utilizes it, all of them are affected. So thousands and thousands of online shops collecting credit card data and sending it to bad guys.
Right.
Is there a way, if you are an e-commerce purchaser, to determine what service is being used?
As a customer, that's tough because realistically, Jeff, the payment processing occurs at the final step.
Right.
Right. So I'm going to take your information first on my server, and then I'm going to throw you over through like an AJAX query or possibly like a PHP redirect if I'm using PHP. But generally, it's going to be like an AJAX query, which is going to happen at the final step, where I've entered my credit card number, and then there's an HTTPS query or possibly a WebSocket that's opened up to be able to query that data from the payment processor. So Volusion, PayPal, Moneris, TD, whoever they're using, right? So Volusion being that processor, now how do I know if they've got something on their end that's compromised, right? So realistically, no.
Yeah, it's tough.
And that's why it was a smart hack.
Well, yeah.
So
because they got it.
Your best bet is really don't use a high limit accessible credit card when you're shopping online. Just don't do it.
Good call, Sasha.
That's
just
wise advice.
Yeah. I've even made the suggestion. People have said to me, how do I, because I sell online, right? How do I know that you're legit? What happens if you're look, go over to the drugstore, get yourself a like this is a $48 order, get yourself a $50 MasterCard, just a prepaid, and then come back to me and process your order. You don't have to worry about it. There's online services that allow you to do that, whether they're, here nor there.
Now,
there are services that allow you to do that.
I'm guilty right now. I make online purchases with my just regular old day-to-day credit card, but it's in my mind, and I really need to do it to just get a little pay-as-you-go, load it up.
Yeah, it's smart. I set a daily limit on my card so that, and I call my bank and turn off the tap, set the daily limit, and so I make them do these things so that I have to be the one who makes that decision. So if I want to make a $10,000 purchase, well, I have to make that phone call.
Right.
And it only takes me maybe 5-10 minutes to do that, but it's worth it.
Peace of mind.
Oh yeah,
Now,
totally worth it.
It wasn't covered in the story, but it'd be interesting to know what happens with Visa debit or like those credit card based debit cards, and if through this hack they have access to bank accounts.
No,
not with prepaid.
So it's but like you can go to any major bank and get a credit card debit card where it works for online purchases like a credit card, but it comes out of your bank account.
So thinking about that, Jeff. So and for those of you who have ever thought, oh, my debit card has a Visa logo on it now.
Right.
So I can use that for online purchases. Smart, right? No, because if you bought through a Volusion-powered website, they now have your debit card, which continually gets your money all the time.
Right.
So every time you deposit your paycheck, they can now withdraw it.
See,
so just don't do it.
At least this
is one of those things where the bank is stupid.
Yeah,
Tap is stupid.
Peace of mind in credit cards having the insurance, and they really do refund when something goes awry.
Yeah.
Whereas banks,
not with your debit.
Yeah, banks are a whole different kettle of fish.
Interestingly enough, this happened with my wife's Visa debit about 6 months ago, where there was a bunch of purchases in California suddenly showing up. Somebody spent about $300. And she's like, what is going on? Within probably 12 hours, she had her money back, which was great. But same deal, because it was connected to her bank account. She's like, okay, let's disconnect that feature. And I was like,
just turn it off, folks.
Yeah, because
don't need it. Don't need it.
There's nothing she could do.
Yeah. That's some wisdom for you. And for those of you who are watching live and in Discord, I mean, Hyman's, I agree, but I don't want to say it on air because then it's an endorsement. Definitely some good services there and some interesting stuff to check out. So take a look at those services that are being talked about, because yes, there are services out there that will allow you to get temporary or even limited credit card numbers that are virtual.
Yes.
So I can say, okay, my Amazon credit card number, which is a virtual credit card number, has a $100 limit.
Yeah.
So if anyone ever compromises Amazon, the most they'll get is $100.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. So that's where those types of services that are being discussed in the Discord come in. For those of you who are watching live, I just simply can't endorse them live on the air. That's all.
Right.
Now, if you're just going to like throw money by the wayside and switch right over to cryptocurrency, the next story will interest you.
Oh, good, good.
Facebook's Libra cryptocurrency coalition is falling apart as eBay, Visa, Mastercard, and Stripe jump ship. The news came just 1 week after PayPal announced its withdrawal as government regulators continue to scrutinize the plans. eBay, Stripe, Mastercard, Visa, and Mercado Pago have all dropped out of Facebook's Libra cryptocurrency project. In statements following the news, the companies said they respect and see potential in the project, but have chosen to focus on other efforts. A Stripe spokesperson said in a statement that the company, quote, is supportive of projects that aim to make online commerce more accessible for people around the world, end quote. Stripe will, quote, remain open to working with the Libra Association at a later stage, the spokesperson said. A Visa spokesperson said the company, quote, will continue to evaluate Libra, saying, our ultimate decision will be determined by a number of factors, including the association's ability to fully satisfy all requisite regulatory expectations. Visa's continued interest in Libra stems from our belief that well-regulated blockchain-based networks could extend the value of secure digital payments to a greater number of people and places, particularly in emerging and developing markets, end quote. The original coalition of 28 corporate backers of the Libra cryptocurrency seems to be dwindling as lawmakers continue to question how it will impact sovereign currencies and how the project's leaders can ensure the consumer's protection. PayU is now the only payments company continuing to back the cryptocurrency. Beyond payment processors, though, original backers Uber and Lyft said that there has been no change to their involvement in the project. The backers abandoning the project may have found safety in numbers after PayPal announced its exit. News that eBay, Stripe, and Mastercard were each dropping out quickly following one another, indicating all three had likely been thinking about leaving during the same period. The decisions came ahead of a planned Libra Association Council meeting, which was held on Monday. Libra's cryptocurrency project took center stage in front of U.S. lawmakers once again as key Facebook staff testified in front of the House Financial Services Committee. That same day, Booking Holdings confirmed it is also leaving the Libra Association, making it the 7th company to exit so far, leaving 21 of the original 28 backers. David Marcus, who leads the Libra project and was previously the president of PayPal, weighed in on Twitter saying, quote, I would caution against reading the fate of Libra into this update. Of course, it's not great news in the short term, but in a way, it's liberating. Stay tuned for more very soon. Change of this magnitude is hard. You know you're onto something when so much pressure builds up, end quote. The Libra Association, the nonprofit in charge of managing the cryptocurrency, says that it is still looking to move forward.
Interesting and funny in a way and kind of sad. But remember 2 weeks ago we were like, I have faith that Libra is going to happen because Visa backs it and Mastercard backs it.
Visa was like, wait.
They're like, whoa, we're out.
Yeah.
We're out. And like, why? Like who approached those companies and said, get out? Or, you know, like...
Yeah, it was Jeff.
No, it wasn't me, but I mean, I have been... not a fan of this from the beginning, from the initial announcement, and so to me, this feels kind of gratifying,
right?
In a very selfish way. But you know, it doesn't mean that it's, you know, like here's the swan song for Libre. But the fact is, there's a lot of challenges that have to be overcome, and I think the fact that people are going, okay, you know what? I'm out. I'm just going to watch this
these
from
are the payment
sidelines.
processors. These are the ones who would be able to transact with Libra.
But the fact that they're saying, I'm out, I'm not in on this yet, I'm going to watch it, that is, I think, encouraging. Because it means they're going, all right, interesting idea. I still like the idea, but the way it's going isn't going to fly with me.
Right.
And so that opens the door to say, okay, how can this change and evolve to be the system that is trustworthy, that is going to be relied upon, so that society in general who's going to use it can go, I'm there.
The only way that can happen now is that Visa, Mastercard, and all of them get together and say, Facebook, you're out.
Yes.
I agree. I completely agree.
Now,
If Facebook was completely out of this, it would be a totally different story. And I think even from the regulatory oversight and the scrutiny that it's getting right now, you'd have less of it. It's simply because Facebook is a heat score.
Would this be a whole different story if we could rewind time and they tried to launch this before the Analytica scandal?
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
Because that was when everybody loved Facebook and everybody trusted Facebook, and now Facebook is tainted.
Yes.
So now anything...
From a business perspective, though, I think Facebook has made this dumb decision where they should be following in the steps of Google. What is it? Alphabet Inc.?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
It's Alphabet
And
Inc.
say, like, because if all of this had come to fruition and Libra, this new cryptocurrency that's going to be backed by real commodities, if this came about by some company that we'd never heard of,
Right?
that, hey, Facebook Inc. could have created, but if we didn't make that connection right away, maybe there'd be an instant, like, oh, this is interesting, and a whole new spin on the whole thing.
But I think the difference is then it wouldn't
They
be
put their name,
Zuckerberg.
but they put their name on it.
Right.
Right.
And that is instant distrust from society.
Yes.
Right.
And that's what I mean. Like, if Facebook was not involved in this, I think you'd be having a very different conversation about it. I
Right.
know I would.
If it were launched by Visa or MasterCard, or like, that would be different.
It would.
I don't know.
It
I mean, they're
would.
all in it for the money, right? So are they looking at it and saying,
But
where's the money for us?
I don't blame them
Right.
for,
How
for
can
being,
we,
I
like, the
don't blame them
food?
for
That's
that.
true.
I mean, I
Right.
can't blame somebody for being in it for the money.
Sure.
But the fact is, it's because it's Facebook that instantly you lose some of that trust and faith.
But if this thing actually takes off and is great, UPay is laughing all the way to the bank.
Absolutely.
They're
Yeah.
the only ones.
Speaking of obscure payment processors that nobody's heard of,
Yeah.
They're
there they
still
are.
in.
They're in.
Yeah.
Are they owned
But
by
what,
Facebook?
but what do they have to lose at the end of the day?
Right.
Really, their investment.
Right.
And their time and their and finances. Of
Really,
course.
this is just like
They're
investing in
they're
a
sinking
penny
cash
stock.
into it.
Because really, if you were investing in any cryptocurrency right now, the most stable cryptocurrency happens to be Libra.
Yes, at zero. And according to CoinGecko, the market looks like this. While everything is down, except, surprisingly, amidst this news, Libra is holding steady at zero because they're not trading yet. That's the irony. Okay, Bitcoin is down to $7,447.76, losing a whopping $1,139 over the past 2 weeks. So, like, that's pretty significant. No, pardon me, over the last 1 week.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
even though we didn't broadcast last week, the numbers were recorded for last week.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is it's volatile.
Yep.
Litecoin also down at $49.15, losing $10. Ethereum at $159.90, losing $31.52 US. Monero has also lost a bit at $52.60 US. Now, Scala is, again, still going down.
Yes.
Scala is still on the descend.
You got to pull life support on this thing.
I don't know. When do we remove it, right? We'll see. We'll see. But it's still ahead of Turtlecoin. But Turtlecoin is more stable.
Yes.
So Scala being one of the microcoins that we're tracking, Scala is at 0.22 ten-thousandths of a cent, losing 0.1 ten-thousandths of a cent. Turtlecoin lost only 0.04 ten-thousandths of a cent in the past week and is sitting at 0.21 ten-thousandths of a cent. So fiat-wise, Scala is valued a little bit higher. But as far as consistency goes, we're seeing that Turtle Coin is a little more stable. Those are the micro coins. They're easy to invest in. They're easy to mine. So if you want to get involved in cryptocurrency, start there. Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Turtle Coin is a fun
great communities as well. But do remember, whatever you're going to do in the cryptocurrency market, whether you're going to buy, invest, mine, or any way that you become involved in cryptocurrency, remember that it's volatile. It's an ever-running market. So 24/7. It can change. So it doesn't matter what time of day or night it is. Everything could go up or down and can happen very quickly and very largely.
Yes.
Could you mine just like on a Raspberry Pi, but powered by like a solar panel? So just like get Turtle Coin like powered by the sun.
Well, you're going to get about 9 hashes per second. So
but still, it's money for nothing.
Well,
but how much, right?
But still, I mean,
put a GPU in your computer for $200 and you'll pay for it within about 6 months, and you're going to be mining and making $100 every 6 months. You know?
Yeah.
So I mean, whatever.
Still,
I mean, how long was I mining Turtle Coin on my Pi, and then I moved to the Odroid?
Oh yes.
Yeah. It was.
Are you a
I liked it.
turtle millionaire?
I haven't checked my balance in a very long time. I have no clue.
Well, hey, that's the story.
Very, very cool. Big thanks to Roy W. Nash and our community of viewers for submitting stories to us this week. Thanks for watching the Category 5.tv newsroom. Don't forget to like and subscribe for all your tech news with a slight Linux bias, and for more free content, be sure to check out our website. From the Category 5.tv newsroom, I'm Sasha Rickman.
And I'm Robbie Ferguson.
And I'm Jeff Weston.